Hello and welcome to the Cyber1 YouTube channel. My name is Ray, and in this video we're going to take a look at this Servo Tester. So this took a little over 2 months to arrive from China. It is designed to simply test servos out, make sure they're moving within a range, make sure they work, and when you're installing them, make sure that you've positioned your servo horn on the servos correctly. This one doesn't have many controls. We have a knob to adjust positioning, a mode select switch, and a pulse width button. Now, according to the instructions, the pulse width, pressing the button will cycle through 3 different speeds of pulse width. That is how often it sends the pulse. And the select button selects between 3 different modes, one being centered, one adjustable by the knob, and the third one being the sweep. And the speed of the sweep can also be adjusted by the knob. Now, not all servos like very high frequency rates of pulses. The original specification for servo control was around about 50 Hertz or 20 millisecond pulse width, or pulses 20 milliseconds apart. The width of the pulse, that is how long the signal is high, determines the position of the servo. So most hobby level servos in remote control planes and alike have a pulse width range of between 1000 microseconds and 2000 microseconds, with 1500 microseconds being in the middle, or 1.5 milliseconds. So let's power this up and see what it looks like. Now, when you look on the back of this, the autofocus isn't going to be my friend today. You'll see the socket, or the plug socket here, has a series of little notches in it, and that is typically the signal end. So that means our ground is going to be at the bottom, power in the middle, and signal at the top. So this is actually reporting in microseconds. It goes a little over the standard range, but that's okay. If you look at my Robot Lab and the way it works well outside the standard range. So most servos that you purchase are a 90-degree servo. That is, it'll swing 90 degrees from 1000 microseconds to 2000 microseconds. My Robot Lab gets a little more out of it by going from 500 microseconds all the way up to 2500 microseconds. Now I have here a servo. This is a high-tech HS 805BB. Nothing special other than it's a giant size, which makes it easier to see in the camera. So we can see that we can very easily adjust it. Now if you look at the range 1000 and then go to 2000, you can see it's around about 90 degree of rotation. Okay, so mode 2 is 1500. Doesn't matter where you put your knob, it stays at 1500, so it's in a set position. And that's handy if you've got to configure a model aeroplane or a model robot where you need to set the servo to the middle of the range when you're assembling it. And this is the sweep mode, and we can control the speed of the sweep mode with the knob. And back to manual mode. So it's got 4 different outputs. I can't see any changes in selecting between different outputs. So let's have a look and see what's inside one of these things. screws underneath the cover. Okay, so it looks like it's a single-sided board, 2 capacitors, 2 switches, a potentiometer, and a 4-gang 7-segment LCD display, and then of course all of our connections for power. Alright, so we have what looks like a voltage regulator of some sort up in this corner, and a main processing chip here. It's all single-sided, so it shouldn't be too difficult to work out what everything is. So with that in mind, I'm going to put this under a microscope so we can get a better view of it. Okay, so let's look at the board in general. Okay, so over this side we've got the input output pins, so the power and servo pins, and they're all connected together. There's every pin across is joined together, so you can control 4 servos, but they are all controlled with the same signal and have the same power bus. So looking at this, the pins on this end are all connected together, and they are the signal pins. That's your ground and that's your power. So the power is connected through S4. What is S4? It's just S4. Looks to me like a diode. And then that goes into a 7144. It's nice that they've actually printed everything on the board. Yep, 7144. Looks like a 5-volt linear voltage regulator. Okay, so a quick look online shows that this is the 7144 is a 30 milliamp low power, low dropout voltage regulator. Okay, so we have component 101 is a 100 ohm resistor connecting the signal directly to, following that trace, goes back to that central chip. Now that central chip blocking my light a little bit as I do this is an Nuvoton N76E003AT20. So a search on that comes back with it being based off an Intel design chip, and I have got the data sheet for that somewhere. So it is a microcontroller. It is a programmable device. And we have a lot of support components around it. So those 3 pins there are the potentiometer, okay, so those 4 pads there are one button, and they're the other button. Now from memory, that's the mode select, and that one's the frequency select. So that's got a capacitor on that side there. That is where the other capacitor is, and that's just across what looks like the supply line. So these row of pins here and here are for the LCD 7-segment LCD display, and they all connect directly back to the microcontroller via the 100 ohm resistors. So that'll be for current limiting. So the output of the microcontroller drives those LEDs directly and monitors the analog input directly. Okay, so it's got on-chip RAM, data memory and program memory. So I might bring up the data sheet for that and we can have a quick look at what it's capable of doing. Okay, so we have the data sheet. Whoop, switching page by page. So we get to page 6 before we get the general description. So the NE76E003, or the N76E003, is an embedded type 8-bit high performance 8051 based microcontroller. Fairly popular architecture for anyone who's programmed Intel before. 256 bytes of SRAM, 768 bytes of auxiliary RAM, 18 general purpose I/O, two 16-bit timer counters, one 16-bit timer 2 with 3-channel input capture, a watchdog, self wake-up timer, one 16-bit auto reload timer 3, one 12-bit ADC. That'll be where the pot's connected. It's got SPI and I2C. .4 to 5.5 volt, 16 megahertz. So it is comparable to the AVR series as used in the Arduinos, but it is a different programming language, different architecture. Looking around online, these things are like 57 cents each, so they're very inexpensive. So not much to one of these things. The real question is, can I put it back together? That's interesting. That's one hell of a jerk it's got when it powers up. So the recommendation I would have if you're going to use one of these is power it up before you plug your servos in. You may not want your servo to move that far on startup. Interestingly enough, it went to the high range. So I'd say part of its boot up, it sent a positive signal out and shut it down after. Going by how far that went, I would say 2.5 milliseconds or 2500 microseconds, which is above its max range, because that hit the stopper, maybe even more. So yeah, it's interesting little device, microcontroller based. Nothing to it really. It has a single output, but is connected to parallel pins, so all your servos are going to do the same thing at the same time. But very handy, lightweight and inexpensive device. That'll do for this video. If you like videos like these, don't forget to click on like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. You might want to consider joining our Discord server, where you can meet other like-minded individuals. And to help fund videos like this one with new hardware, consider becoming a Patreon and join our VIP Go Lucky, Almiral's 45 and Lorenz Burger. And we'll see you in the next video.